What are the biggest things maybe you've learned about this team or this program at this point in your tenure here through this camp? What are the biggest things you've learned from this camp?
You know, some of our younger players are really starting to shine, and they're developing, and they're becoming some of our better players. Really excited about that. Some of our older players that have been here continue to push themselves and understand they need to keep getting better. So I think just overall, we know our football team. You know, each year is a new team. You know, each spring's a new team, and this spring is a different team than last year. And we know these guys a lot better right now. We know what their strengths or weaknesses are. You know, the things that we still need to work on. We've got another new offensive system that we've implemented. We got a bunch of new coaches that are still trying to get acclimated, but I think they fit in pretty good, pretty quick. And you know, that's kind of where we're at. We know our team, know our coaches, and we're starting to bring it all together still.
Having had the changeover that you've had in the offensive coordinator situation, you've got something to compare it to. How far along are you, and how comfortable are you with where you are compared to first two seasons?
We're way ahead. We're a long ways away, but we're way ahead of where we've been the last two springs. You know, we got more guys out there this spring than what we've had in the past. You know, just about all the receivers that are out there running routes right now, none of them were here last spring. You know, we had one quarterback, scholarship quarterback last spring. You know, that room is different. We got more tight ends out there, so we're way ahead of what we've been in the past.
You saw that Wisconsin and Michigan, I think, had to cancel their spring games because of the weather. What are the benefits of being out there, making it a game-like as possible, making it a competition? What are the benefits of actually having a spring game?
You know, probably the only benefit is you got people in the stands watching, and you see, you know, how players respond to that. You know, again, I hope we get a bunch of people out here and we get a chance to go perform in front of people other than just coaches and some occasional family members that show up at practice. That's really the biggest difference. I mean, we're going to approach this. This is a work day. We need to get better, and you know, we're going to move the ball around and do some different situational work. But it's more about, can you perform in the stadium, coaches on the sideline, and people actually watching. That's it.
When you first came here, you talked about building depth. How has that depth come along this spring?
Every year you want to build depth. You know, you talk to every coach in America, especially in the spring, and I doubt anybody says they have the depth that they want. And we are deeper at some spots through recruiting and player development. We're deeper at several positions than we've been in the past, but we still have some, mostly O-line, D-line. It's the biggest concern. And again, you talk to a lot of coaches around the country, and they're probably saying the same thing at those two positions. But that's our biggest concern. It's the depth in those two spots.
Is that one of the toughest things in the Big Ten?
I don't care what league you're in. You know, I mean, Big Ten's a line of scrimmage league, but college football's a line of scrimmage league. NFL's a line of scrimmage. That's, you know, if you got an O-line, D-line, you got a chance to win. If you don't, you don't. And you know, I feel good about the guys that we can put out there, starting five on offense and the starting defensive line right now. But it's the depth that we've got to work really, really hard between now and you know, September to develop it.
A year ago, you came out of spring. I think you had 4 of the 5 offensive linemen solidified. Where are you at, you know, as far as naming starters on the offensive line?
We're a long ways away. Tariq Cole's been starting left tackle for a while. He'll stay the starting left tackle. Kamal Seymour has been out for a majority of spring from a postseason deal that we had to take care of, but he'll be fine. He'll be the starting right tackle. Those two guys are solidified. The 3 inside guys, they're still up for grabs.
Speaking of the offensive line, how's a guy like Micah Clark developed?
Mike has done a good job. Mike has missed some spring practice this spring with the off-the-field things that he's got to take care of. But Mike has had a good off-season until then. But he's still got a ways to go. He'll be in the mix at one of the positions. But he has been missing some spring practice because of off-the-field things he's had to do.
Where are you quarterback-wise heading into the spring game? Who will we see the most?
You see them all. I mean, nothing's different than what we've done every day. I think you guys have been out there to practice a little bit. We really have, you know, 4 or 5 guys that are getting reps. As we have 1s, 2s, and 3s. Saturday we'll probably have 3 guys, 3 or 4 guys that get the majority of the reps. But we're going to rotate them all. They're going to all play. They'll all play a little bit with, you know, most of them will play with the 1s for a few snaps, and they'll play with the 2s for a few snaps too.
And you have an idea internally, at least, where you're going to be heading into preseason?
No, I've said that a million times. I know you're trying to get me to say something.
No, do you have it?
No, like I told you, we've only gone through 15 practices. We've got a bunch of young guys at that position other than Gio. It's a new offensive system. to say that someone's mastered it to the point that they're going to go out there and lead the offense and follow it, we're not even close to that. Have we grown and developed and had some good days of practice? Absolutely. But to say we're ready to name, so that's not happening.
What went into the decision to let live tackle on Flacco last week, and will that continue?
He wanted it. That's it. It's no more complicated than that. He wanted it. So we'll see what he wants for the spring game. He'll come in and tell me.
Have you ever had a player like, I mean, obviously not necessarily as a head coach, but in any coaching experience, have a quarterback demand to get hit?
Oh, yeah. You've had guys that think they're tough enough to do that, you know, and they say that, but I've been a part of teams where the quarterbacks have been live in certain scrimmages, or certain quarterbacks have been live. I've seen quarterbacks go say, "I want to be live," and head go, "No, we're good." You know, but Flacco's a competitor, and Flacco's tough, and he wants to be able to showcase his skill set, and wanted the opportunity to go live, and so we did.
How did you go about the scoring system? Was that something that you had in mind? Was that something that you patterned after someone else?
You know, spring games are really set up a lot of different ways, and I just wanted to do something different. I honestly have never done it. I know a lot of people have, and I've always just kind of kept some notes on what other people do with spring games. And when I decided that I wanted to do something different, I went through and looked at my notes and came up with it that way. But a lot of people do that.
What have you seen from Max Anthony? It seems like he's going to have that move position in the offense. It seems like there's going to be a lot of use for him this year, different spots.
Yeah, you know, what kind of role Max has, you know, in our offense, that's yet to be determined. You know, Max is an intelligent guy. You know, knows his assignments. He goes out here as a tough guy. You know, practices hard, plays the game the way you want it to be played. And he knows his job. You know, we're asking him to do a lot of different things. One, because he can, and two, because of lack of depth. So he's been pretty versatile with you know, the positions that he's played this spring.
We talk about quarterback all the time, but you know, are there any starting positions that haven't solidified this spring camp?
That have been?
Yeah, that have been, and if so, which ones?
You know, what have we won? 6 games in the last 2 years. There's not a lot of positions that have been solidified. You know, and I'm not trying to, you know, make light of your question, but that's really where we're at. We need guys to compete to get better. We need guys to compete to take someone else's job. You know, the natural ones, like I already mentioned Tariq Cole. I mean, Tariq's probably going to be our starting left tackle. That's probably not going to change. You know, some of the guys, John Baddick, he's going to be our starting, you know, defensive tackle. You know, that's not going to change. You know, so there's some of those spots that just they've been around. They've played some really good football. They're going to, you know, be in those spots, but to say some of the spots that were up for grabs have been solidified, no, they haven't yet.